Hello and welcome to part 4 of our FCAT review. Before we get started, we have a few things to talk about. One is our math clue. If you're keeping track of our puzzle, the last letter, or the letter in this clue is U. Alright, and in topic number 4, we have conversions. So my hint for conversions, if you have these problems, I know you're going to feel like, I don't feel like flipping back through the reference sheet. Just do it. Flip back. Don't be lazy. Another thing to remember is if you're going from a big measure to a small measure, we multiply. If you're going from a small to big, divide. Okay? We'll see some examples of that next. Alright, first example, swimming pool has a surface area of 2,700 square feet. How many square yards are equivalent to 2,700 square feet? Alright, well, if you look at your conversion, you see a simple 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Okay, but when we're talking square yards, you have to be careful because if this were 1 square yard, we'd have 1, 2, 3 feet here, and it's a square, so it would have the same amount on this side, 1, 2, 3 feet here. And if you draw that grid, so we get 1 square yard is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 square feet. The reason is because if the conversion 1 to 3, if we're talking square, we square it. And 3 squared gives us, of course, 9 feet. The other thing to remember is that we are dealing with square feet, and we want to convert them to square yards. So we're going, feet are smaller than yards. So if we're going from small to big, we need to divide. So we take our 2,700, divide that by 9, and we should get an answer of A. Did you get A? Good job. Alright, now it's your turn. See if you can figure out the second problem. Car travels at an average speed of 54 miles an hour. How many feet will the car travel in 1 minute? Hit pause. Your turn. So if you did this right, first thing you gotta know is 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. If you forget that, the easy way to remember is, remember the giant that can throw 5 2 mate O's 1 mile. 5 2 mate O's, 5 2 mate O's, 5 2 8 O's 1 mile. Alright, and that's in feet. So if we have 54 miles per hour, 54 miles converts into feet by just multiplying. Remember, we have miles, something big, converting to something small, feet, we're going to multiply. And when you multiply this, you get 285,120. Besides the fact that this is not an answer choice, we have to read the question. It says how many travel hours? 54 miles per hour. So this is how many feet per hour we're traveling. Now we just have to figure out how many feet car travels for 1 minute. So we need to figure out if this is how many per hour, we need to convert this into minutes. And of course the way you do that, there are 60 minutes in an hour. So we are going to divide by 60. And that would give us, what did you get? Did you do it yet? You should. Stay with me. 4,752, which is answer choice A. Alright, last problem. This one's on you. Hopefully you got the second one right. Read it. Give it a try. Hit pause and come back. Pause. Pause. If you weren't sure about the conversion and you didn't do the problem, like I said, when you're supposed to hit pause, then here's the conversion. This will help you out. 1 cup is 8 ounces, and 2 cups equals 1 pint. Now hit pause. Pause. So what you should have got was, if we have 3 pints, multiply it to figure out the number of cups. We multiply by 2. And multiply by 8 to find the number of ounces. 3 times 2 times 8 is 48 ounces. So our answer choice would be B. Did you get all those right? Again, the important thing to remember, use your reference sheet. If we have something big, and we convert to something small, we multiply. If we're converting from something small, something big, we divide. And of course we have a little bit of math chivalry, and the addition sign is saying after you, for parentheses, exponents, and division. Because of course addition is just following the order of operations, coming after his buddies. Ha ha ha. And so we are on to math topic number 3, but before we do that, we're going to do a quick shout out, and I'm sure you'll be able to figure out who wrote this one. It says, Cherry looks adorable in glasses. I love you, Morgan, Alicia, Morales, Kayla, and Brianna. So that's a shout out. Take a guess at who that's for. But there it is. Alright, so our third topic is the Pythagorean Theorem. Now, tricky part of Pythagorean Theorem is it won't say it's Pythagorean Theorem, so you have to know when to recognize it. You recognize it, you will use Pythagorean Theorem when you have a right triangle and you're looking for sides. Okay, we're not talking about angles inside, we're looking for sides. So when a side distance is missing, but you have the other 2 sides, use Pythagorean Theorem, which is, of course, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Alright, the last step, you need to take a square root. Students forget to do that sometimes, but then your answer is way big, so you also have to do this make sense. Does your answer make sense? Can you have a side of 3, 4, and then a side of 25? That wouldn't make sense. The sides should be somewhat close to each other. Alright, here's our first example. Lightning has struck a tree. The broken treetop is 20 feet long, here, and the tip lies 12 feet from the base of the tree. Now this does not say Pythagorean Theorem, but we can assume the tree is straight up. It is a right angle. And we want to know what is the height of the tree in feet before it fell. Good question. So in order to figure this out, we need to know this. So we're going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And remember, the c is always the side across the right angle. So we have the hypotenuse. And we can either have an a or a b here. Doesn't matter which variable you substitute it for. So now we just evaluate. 12 squared is 144. 20 squared is 400. If you have the c and you're missing either a or b, you have to subtract. So 400 minus 144 is 256. So we have b squared equals 256. Now do the make sense test. Remember, the hypotenuse has to be the longest side, so our answer should be less than 20. So it means we're not done. We have to take the square root. The square root of 256 is 16, which means this side is equal to 16. Now, is that the answer to our question? Because look, it tells you it has 16 right here. You just have to be careful. That is the side length, but that's not the answer to the question. It says, what is the height of the tree in feet before it fell? So before it fell, it was way up here with the tree. Okay, so we have to add what it was, this 20 plus 16 to get a total. Not all questions do this, but this is a tricky question. So 0 plus 6, 3 plus 1. The answer should give us A, 36 feet. Take a second, Look over the problem. See if you could recognize that that's a Pythagorean theorem. Just recognize the right triangle looking for a side, and then always, always, always read what the question is asking. Alright, now it's your turn. We have a right triangle here, so it's pretty obvious what we should be doing. Make sure you read the question and try to figure it out. Alright, so I looked at the problem a little bit, and I found that this side is equal to 6. And you can figure that out just by counting squares. Or you can subtract 3 minus -3. Or you can count the squares here and you get 8. The question is, because this one's on the diagonal, we don't know. So we're going to call that question mark. We can find that missing side with a little Pythagorean theorem. So you give it a try. Try to solve the missing side C. Did you get the missing side of 10? Because if you take 6 squared, 8 squared, add them up, then take the square root, you should get 100. I'm going to take the square root of that is 10. So let's look. Is this an answer choice? No, but the question says, what is the distance in miles Kiara Road to get from point P to Q to R back to point P? So that means the last step is we need to add 6 plus 8 plus 10. So that would give us 6 plus 8 is 14 plus 10. 24 miles. Answer choice should be A. Did you get that one right? See how these are Pythagorean theorem, which is not very difficult, but you see how they can make the questions a little tricky? But fortunately, you are ready because you've watched this video. And you hit pause, didn't you? You should have. Last example. I would like you to give this one a try. See what you get. I'm going to hit pause. You solve the problem. We'll check to see if you got it right. Alright, here's what I got. Might look overwhelming, but it's not too bad. If we're trying to find all the ribbon you would need for this, you have to add up all the sides. 4.8 and 4.8, those are equal. 3.6, 3.6, so I added all those up and got 16.8. Notice that is a wrong answer choice for B because it did not account for these ribbons. In order to find this ribbon, we have a triangle. It doesn't say Pythagorean theorem here, but if you do a squared plus b squared, you will get c squared. And in this case, c is equal to 36. I'm sorry, c squared is equal to 36. Take the square root. You get c is equal to 6. And so we're going to add this one plus 6 and this one plus 6. We should get our answer of 28.8. Pythagorean theorem, but it doesn't say it. Take a second, hit pause if you have to. Look at what I did. See if you can figure it out. Hopefully you'll be able to do problems just like this. And here we'll leave you with this nice little comic. Oh, so sweet when math can show love. We'll see you next time, guys, for the last and final part of our FCAT review. Goodbye.